Are you intense, unstable, extreme, inappropriate, confusing to others, highly emotional about everything, and have anxiety like me? Like right now, this is my first ever YouTube video, and my heart is pounding outside my chest. Well, hey friends, I'm Joelle Anthony, and I too have borderline personality disorder and have been living with it for 31 years now. So, along with my personal experience, learned knowledge, and unrelenting faith, I am here to help navigate you, encourage you, and inspire you to find your worth. Because despite what the experts say, victory is possible with borderline personality disorder. Now, I am not a mental health professional. I am just an individual person like you living with borderline personality disorder. So I'm just going to be talking to you about the way that it affects my life on a daily basis, things that I deal with, and how I've been misdiagnosed and everything in between. So yeah, and I'm going to share it all with you. And I tend to get anxiety quite often, so I hope that you are patient with me because I'm going to forget what I'm going to say half the time, but want you to know it's authentic and real and coming from my heart. Now, with all my videos, I'm going to tell you specifically what I'm talking about because us with borderline personality disorder, our minds tend to wander often, and I'm pretty scattered. And we also get bored. So to help keep me on track and you from not getting bored, I'm going to always tell you the specific things that I am going to talk about. For instance, today I'm going to talk about what is borderline personality disorder in a way that you can actually understand. There is a ton of information out there with borderline personality disorder, and sometimes it can get too clinically scientific and overwhelming, but obviously if you live with it, you know what it is like me. So I'm going to talk about first what it is from a human emotion perspective. If someone was to come up to you and say, hey, what's going on with you? What is borderline personality disorder? It's quite simple to answer that, and I'm going to tell you that. Second, I am going to talk about that clinical perspective. I'm not going to bore you, but I'm going to just talk about what it is if you were to go to a mental health professional. And three, I'm going to talk about the way that I view borderline personality disorder since living with it for so long. All right. First off, saying borderline personality disorder multiple times more than a mouthful, and I've got a pretty big mouth. So I'm going to use its popular acronym of BPD quite often because chances are I am going to screw it up. BPD from a human emotion perspective. This is where if someone came up to you and said, what's your problem? What's going on? I'm going to help you answer that. Also, second thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to define what borderline personality disorder is from a clinical perspective. And third, I'm going to actually talk about the way that I view borderline personality disorder or BPD. All right, here we go. We're going to go into this now. I can't stop laughing. Why is it so funny to me? Number one, from a human emotion perspective. First off, we can see in the name itself gives us clues as to what it is. It's a personality disorder. It's under that umbrella of a personality. So what is a personality? Well, we all have one. People tend to tell me, you have a very nice personality. You're quite funny, and you may have a different personality than I do. We all have different personalities. But a personality, I believe, by definition, is the traits and the characteristics that make us up, right? So again, good personality versus bad personality, whatever you want to say. So that is a personality. So then we look at the word disorder. And first off, I am not a big fan of the word disorder. I know it's a technical term that we have to put on illnesses and stuff. I don't know, the word just bothers me, it irritates me. I like to use the word messy more often. And if we look at disorder by definition, that's what it means. Messiness, chaos, state of confusion, and disorganized. That's what those two words mean. Now, if we look at the word borderline, And I hope that I'm keeping your attention here. Borderline. What is borderline? Well, it's a line marking a border between two things. So, in my opinion, if we do or you have borderline personality disorder, it's safe to say that there is a ton of chaos going on with our personality that is always teetering on one side or the other. It's either good or bad, happy, sad. In my opinion, living with borderline personality disorder we're pretty much like a human seesaw all the time throughout the day. 2, from a clinical perspective, and again, like I said earlier, I promise I won't bore you. I'm actually going to put my glasses on right now because I'm actually literally blind. And if there's a glare there, I apologize beforehand. I'm going to put these on because I'm going to have to read some stuff. And I told you that my mind wanders, so I got to read stuff. Okay, do I look good?
Yeah.
I kind of look good. Okay, so from a clinical perspective, I'm not sure if you are familiar with that great big book. I'll have my husband put that picture up here, the DSM. It is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health. It sounds quite important. I know they change it quite often. I think they're on number 5 now. It's a big deal. But it is a book that your therapist will actually use to determine what your diagnosis is. They're going to determine what your diagnosis is through this book along with your symptoms. So you might be familiar with the book. So I'm going to read here now. So basically in that book, what they say is BPD, you will see a pattern of instability of interpersonal relationships, self-image, and affects, and marked impulsivity. What does affects mean? I didn't know what affects mean. I felt like I should have known what affects mean when I was doing my research. I'm not going to lie, didn't know what it is. But if in case you're curious and you want to pretend like you know what it means, like I do a lot, here's what affects mean. Affects are just emotions, moods, and feelings. That's all it is. I thought it sounds fancier than what it is, but that's what it means. Kind of like affective or whatever, affection. Anyways, also you will see, here's a big one now, you'll hear this quite often in the BPD world, emotional dysregulation. She doesn't know how to regulate her emotions. This girl right here. So emotional dysregulation, now what does that mean? Another one I didn't know what it was and I wish I did, but our emotional reactions towards people and things are felt more intense and frequent and last for longer durations. And if you have BPD, that's pretty accurate. We stay mad longer and then we eventually come off of our being mad. Okay, you're also going to see ongoing patterns of unstable moods, behavior, and relationships, inability to regulate your emotions, emotional dysregulation, and you're going to have inappropriate reactions. So here's the thing. Regardless of how it's defined from both the human emotion perspective, I'm going to take my glasses down off because you might see some glare. Regardless of how it's defined from this human emotion perspective, clinical perspective, bottom line is there are key descriptive words in defining borderline personality disorder. From my opinion, that is going to be unstable, intense, inappropriate, confusing to others, highly emotional, and extreme, if I haven't said that yet. So those are going to be the words. So chances are if you have borderline personality disorder, you know those words very well. I live with those every day. Like right now, I'm feeling a little bit intense in this video, but my go-to descriptive word, if I had to choose one, it's going to be emotional. I am extremely emotional, cry over everything. Just cry. If my dog is coming up to me doing something cute, I'm going to cry. Highly emotional, anxiety. So I love to hear comment below, what is your hot button descriptive words? Are you more intense? Are you inappropriate? Are you confusing? Again, I am emotional. Okay, so 3, the way that I view borderline personality disorder. So if someone was to come to me like my 84-year-old mom who knows mental health very well, my dad's had bipolar for most of his life, she was asking me, so Joelle, what is this thing that you're talking about now? What do you have? Because again, I'll talk about in future videos, I was misdiagnosed quite a bit. So someone that doesn't know it, I can actually deduce it down to 2 words from all the definitions I talked about. Basically, having borderline personality disorder for me is emotionally unstable, period. I can actually say pretty much unstable. That's the way that I view it. And really, we with a BPD, we are unstable in almost everything, right? I mean, our jobs, our careers, our identity, our image, our school, our academics, our clothing, everything. We are just unstable, even in our decision making, right? We're unstable with our yeses, our nos. We're all over the place. We are just constantly unstable. An unstable mood is at the core of our being. So I wanted to just briefly mention an interesting find that I found, and I'm going to put the link below, in the Mental Health of UK. The way that they actually view borderline personality disorder is they call it an emotional unstable personality disorder. Hence, the way that I said that I view borderline personality disorder. And so again, I'd love to know, I'd love to hear how you view borderline personality disorder since you're living with it. And also, what out of those descriptive words that I mentioned, what is your go-to? What do you struggle with the most on a daily basis? And I'd love for you to like, subscribe, and even share to someone that can actually benefit from these videos. Thanks for being patient with me. I hope that our friendship grows, and I just really look forward to impacting your life to the positive with borderline personality disorder, because it's not easy to live with, and I am here for you. And thank you for watching. I appreciate you and look forward to sharing with you in my next video the whole diagnosis debacle and how I went from being a spoiled brat to having borderline personality disorder. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.